Today I'm off to collect my passport from the offices at Victoria in London, and living on the Isle of Wight I have to take a ferry and a train and 2 underground trains to get to London Victoria. I have to take a passenger ferry across the Solent to Portsmouth train station, where from there I can catch a train to London Waterloo and then jump onto the underground. I won't have much time in London as I have an early afternoon return ticket home, but whilst I'm there I thought it would be a good opportunity to grab some pictures and be a tourist for a morning. Even though I was born in London and lived there for 30 years or so, it's still great to go back.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform edge.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Scott speaking. Welcome aboard the 0640 South Western Railway service to London Waterloo.
On the nearly 2-hour train journey it was pretty boring, but I kept myself amused by listening to music and gazing out of the window and watching the sun come up.
Station is Petersfield. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
As the journey went on, the train got busier and busier with commuters to London, and I found myself cramped and people watching. Everyone was so miserable, and I couldn't help but think how a casual fart might have livened things up a bit. I actually thought of taking a few photographs of commuters, but I wasn't too sure if it would end up in one of those viral videos on TikTok of train arguments. Finally, getting off at Waterloo, I could let that fart out. Time to head off to the underground to get my 2 tubes to Victoria. It was quite interesting to see how casual these commuters were these days, hardly a suit and tie in sight. Off to the smelly old underground, where a fart smell wouldn't have been out of place. I needed to get from Waterloo to the embankment and then change from the embankment to Victoria. By now I'm feeling pretty tired, let alone vlogging and going on a long photo walk. So that was a mission, coming all the way from Portsmouth all the way to London. Normally I'd drive this, but what with the Queen's funeral and stuff recently, I thought there's no point in driving. I just jumped on the train and made it nice and easy for myself. So I was up here getting a passport from the passport office. I had to collect my passport. That's why I've come up here. I'm going away to the Middle East in November, so I'll be vlogging that as well, guys. So keep your eyes tuned on that one. But I've got some spare time now before I go back home, back to the Isle of Wight, down south to the peace and quiet. So I thought I'd go along to Buckingham Palace, Whitehall, around them areas. I'll try and get some photographs. In my bag and my backpack I've got Leica MP. So I'll return to the video in a moment. I'll just show you the cameras I used. I was using a Leica MP with a 50mm f2 Voigtlander lens, and with that I was using the Fuji Acros 2 and also CineStill's BWXX film, which is basically Kodak black and white XX film, cine film. And also I used the Le Rouge 6.6 pinhole camera. You guys have seen this, maybe some of you guys new to the channel haven't seen this, but I've done a lot of videos on this in the past. I'll put some links in the description to this pinhole camera. Fantastic bit of kit. I enjoy using that, and I took the Holga as well, and I loaded the pinhole and the Holga with T-Max 400, but I never used the Holga. I just didn't have time because James Lane was talking about 510 Pyro so because James was talking about 510 Pyro so much. James, if you're watching, I love you, you know that. So those are the cameras that I'm using. And I also want to show you this photograph. I did a print exchange with Gary Geezer. He's quite a popular Instagrammer. I follow him. I know a lot of my followers follow him as well. And he does a lot of creative nude photography. And he sent me a limited edition, one of his new limited edition prints. I'll put a link in the description to Gary Geezer's Instagram and website. And this is number 10 of 25. I've got a printed certificate with it as well. So Gary, I've got to say a massive thanks, mate, for sending me that. The place seems a lot bigger from when I was a kid. Get off to Buckingham Palace. I want to try and get some photographs of the gates around Buckingham Palace. Real close-up stuff, you know. Maybe slip down a few alleyways along the way. And I might even be meeting up with James Lane. If he can get out of bed and come and meet me for a pint, that's up to him. Bring a bottle of Pyro, James. See you guys in a bit. So behind these walls here, it's all Buckingham Palace, all the gardens, and they're proper protected as well, proper secure. You ain't going to get in there unless you're that guy from the 80s who sat on the Queen's bed. All this. Their pillars might be nice for some pinhole. Queen's Gallery. That's flowers there laid for the Queen. God rest her soul. So we're getting nowhere near the palace gates. They must be still in a clean-up operation from the funeral. So there's no way I can get near the gates to take any pictures of the gates. It's a nice big gate here. That's as close as we can get to it. I was hoping to get near those gates, but there's no way, it's all secured off. No doubt for the clear up after the funeral. Just as I thought, they're still picking up after the funeral, so that's a shame. I was hoping to get down here and take some photos of flags and stuff. Spikes, look, you ain't getting over that wall. So with my initial plan of Buckingham Palace out the window, I went looking for back streets around St James's Palace. It took a while to get my head into the photography as it wasn't my plan, but I soon started to enjoy myself. So what with Buckingham Palace being all closed off, there was no point in me staying around there, so I thought I'd come over to Waterloo and get some shots over here. Some of the old buildings around the arches and stuff. Like up here, you've got all these old train station arches going on, which look pretty cool up here. And
anyone?
what?
Get your 510 Pyro right here.
What's the chances of that? There's a geezer there selling 510 Pyro. That's unbelievable. Hang on, it's James Lane from Zone Imaging. How are you, James?
I'm good, I'm good.
What are you doing up here?
Okay to see you.
You come selling pyro. James and myself went on a photo walk, and as always I was looking for some gritty photographs. So I dragged James down some smelly urine infested back streets, and I wasn't sure if this was his kind of photography. We ended up in the end around Big Ben, and as much as I tried to ask James about his photography style, I couldn't get a word in for him talking about 510 Pyro. James is a lovely lad and he knows his stuff when it comes to photochemistry, and he's very funny also. During this walk we had a good laugh, and I burst off a roll of Cinestill BWXX or Kodak XX, and also a roll of Fuji Acros too. We've got James Lane. James Lane's on the channel. So hello, James. Woo.
Hello.
James, what's the best developer that you use for black and white film?
510 Pyro, of course.
James, what's the best?
What else is there?
What's the best developer out there at the moment?
510 Pyro.
That's all I've heard is 510 Pyro for the last hour.
Alright, the other stuff is alright.
Then it was time for some pinhole photography, and because of the slow exposures I had to use a mini tripod that I had in my camera bag. Don't you take a photo of Big Ben, James?
Oh well, I'm taking a picture, alright. So I'm meant to be a photographer, right? Okay. So I live here, so not a tourist. Oh no, I forgot to overexpose the sky. I'll do that again. Oh, and it's 2.8. That's for 2.8. I'm doing very badly, aren't I?
I got some nice photographs around the London Eye, but unbeknown to me, the area is a tripod no-go zone. But it wasn't long before the tripod police told me to put the tripod away, but that was okay. I just used walls and pavements for my pinhole exposures. Where there's a will, there's always a way. Before my journey back home, me and James had a beer and a chat about Kodak D76. In his Facebook group, UK Film Photography and Darkroom, he posted photographs of our time together, and I found it quite amusing to see a few of the photographs had myself in there taking photographs. Not so amusing of his portraiture of me, cleverly framing the burger sign, insinuating that I'm a fat git. So that was a bag of fun. Getting me passport, running off, taking some pictures, meeting up with James Lane from Zone Imaging. We had a good laugh and a good chat along the way, talking a lot about 510 Pyro. Bless him. And yeah, we took some nice pictures, had a little walk and a mooch. I didn't really do a great deal of video work, but I took a lot of photographs. I'm now on the train going home. It's 2:30, so I'll be home in probably about 4 hours. Long way. And on the way home on the train, I had a few frames left over in the Leica with the Acros 2, and Andy Brennan on Instagram spoke to me that morning and he gave me a challenge. And while on the subject of James Lane, he bought about 5 or 6 bottles of Pyro in his bag. I said to him, "Why have you got all them?" He went, "Just in case someone wants one on the way." He said, "In case I see someone shooting film." And we did. And they approached me because I was shooting the Leica. They had a Leica, and we got chatting as well. So I took a photograph of these lads who I've since friended on Instagram. They've been quite fun to chat to. And not only did James have Pyro in his bag, he also brought out a couple of T-shirts for me. Didn't give me no Pyro though, I've already got Pyro. But anyway, he gave me a couple of T-shirts. Joe, I know you think I'm a fat git, Joe, but look at it. I can hardly breathe in the thing, it's a medium. What are you doing to me? Right, I might have to wear this in the darkroom at some point. And he gets me another one, 510 Pyro. And this one's medium as well. James, I'm not a medium, mate. You've seen plenty of my videos. What's wrong with you, boy? I mean, nipples are hanging out and everything. So yeah, that was me on a photo walk with James Lane in London. Like I said, I went up to get my passport. I can't breathe in this thing. I went up to get my passport and ended up going on a photo walk. James Lane met me and we had a bit of a laugh together, took some photographs and had some fun. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to all the subscribers and the people who support the channel. I'll catch you next time. I've got to get this thing off. I can't breathe. Oh, James, sort it out. I can't even get it off. I'm going to rip it. Jesus! Get some XXL, boy!